I was recently browsing through the old Amazon and a book popped up in items recommended for you, Twitch for Dummies. The creation of this book baffled me. Who in this day and age is reading a book about Twitch when countless YouTube videos, blog posts, or literally anything that's not on paper exists? My curiosity got the better of me and I picked up a used copy. I read it all the way through and I wanted to share what I found. To give you a little insight about who I am, my name is Swolecat and I've been streaming on Twitch for about 2 years now. I've watched a lot of videos on streaming, how to stream, and all that other stuff. I would not consider myself an expert or a huge streamer though. At the time of this writing, I have 722 followers and an average of 11.5 viewers. Now, I don't think I'm the target audience for this book at all, but if it's not for me, who's it for? This question kept on running through my mind again and again as I read this book. I think some of the answers about the intended audience can perhaps be found with our author's credentials. Twitch for Dummies was written by T. Morris, who's known on Twitch as the T Monster, and at the point of this writing, he's at 3.6k followers and gets an average of 11.5 viewers.
T. Morris. This is kind of just like me for real.
I don't bring up these stats to shame or anything like that, but I do think it's important to note that our expert is not a full-time streamer or a partner. That being said, he is a part-time author and apparently has been podcasting for a long time. I think his familiarity with podcasting can place Morris in a decidedly different generation than the majority of people who are streaming on Twitch. Dude is even more of a boomer than me. One other important note about our author is that he's really into Destiny. The vast majority of streamers he brings up are Destiny streamers. While I understand writing about what you know, I'd feel like the book would be a lot more compelling if he was able to reach out to other communities. I like to start off with the good bits of advice from this book. First, if you're going into chat, you shouldn't assume familiarity. It's sort of weird. All the monetary exchange on Twitch is voluntary. There should be no expectations on either side. Setting a consistent schedule is helpful for getting regular viewers. You should have some sort of plan about stuff to talk about. I think this is definitely something that I could improve on. Don't do shitty things or be shitty just because it lets you stream. Life comes first. Don't make everyone in chat a mod. There's a lot of good cam streamer tips like good lighting and don't have stuff in the background that you don't want to be public. And then there's a section on Twitch etiquette like no self-promo. With that out of the way, there's a reason I brought up Morse's history with podcasting. He suggests in the intro that the early podcasters would have done video if only internet was better. However, I feel like viewing live streaming as it is today, or at least as it was in 2019, as a derivative of the podcasting of old is completely out of touch. As such, there's a couple of really weird sections in the book. There's a whole chapter dedicated on how to interview someone, and there's also a bit that suggests in order to grow your community, you should start a podcast. I don't think that strategy is going to work in this day and age. As I mentioned earlier, our author is neither a full-time streamer nor a partner. This isn't a dig, but I think there's a lot of weird advice that follows an affiliate mindset. The biggest piece to stand out is to create a panel with an Amazon wish list, because the generosity of others may surprise you. While you may find yourself surprised, focusing on monetization early on usually turns off potential viewers, and it takes away from time that you could be spending on things that are more worthwhile. Another suggestion that I view as a common pitfall is to have your friends on stream when you're starting out. While this seems like a good idea, I think it ultimately puts more distance between you and the chat, especially if your friends aren't streamers and aren't looking at the chat and responding. It's odd. I feel like Morris would know this since he suggests playing grinding games so you can focus on the chat, but that's what he says. There's also the suggestion of reruns. As a new streamer, nobody watches your VODs. Why would they watch your VODs in a rerun setting? However, the best and most interesting way to think about this book is to view it as a time capsule before the big COVID boom. There's no mention of VTubers at all. 2019 was still Kizuna times, and it wasn't super big in the West. There's also no mention of TikTok. Instead, he suggests you diversify on YouTube and Instagram. I also appreciate the really cheeky prediction on Fortnite. At the time of this writing, the building battle royale game Fortnite dominates the charts. The numbers and the attention the unassuming game has garnered is nothing to ignore. But how long will it last? Another interesting bit is his take on DMCA. Morris claims as long as the music is soft, you're speaking over the music, and the music is not the focus of discussion, you're okay. I feel like a lot of people these days will not even mess with bigger music to avoid DMCA stuff. The biggest takeaway, however, came from looking up all the streamers he mentioned. Of the 46 streamers, 21 are still active on Twitch, 22 no longer stream, and 3 have moved to other platforms. One thing to note is that the vast majority of these streamers were Destiny 2 streamers, and Destiny 2 has fallen from popularity since its launch. Checking in on some of these streams was crazy. There was a lot of channels that took a year off from streaming entirely, and there's some partners who now only get 5 views. There were a couple who transitioned from streaming to doing OnlyFans or crypto. I think it just goes to show how transitory this whole streaming thing is. And that's pretty much all my thoughts. I wouldn't recommend this book unless you have a morbid curiosity or you're a turbo boomer. But maybe this was your introduction to streaming. Let me know what you think in the comments or on my Twitch stream. I'll see you later. Bye.